Hello, heroes and Zargons. I'm Alfrich, and this is the Trials and Tribulations of Zargon, a series which details the many ways in which the Emperor's heroes foil Zargon and his minions in their plots to conquer the Empire. In it, we'll review the published quests and any house rules or modifications I'm using to make the game more interesting and challenging. My heroes this campaign are played by a single, experienced player, so they cooperate, share resources, and are wise to the wiles of Zargon. The tuning I've done to the quests reflects that. In this episode, we'll cover Quest 2, The Rescue of Sir Ragnar. Mentor begins it by telling the heroes, Sir Ragnar, one of the Emperor's most powerful knights, has been captured. There is reason to believe that he is being held prisoner by Ulag, the Orc warlord. You are to find Sir Ragnar and bring him back to the stairway. Prince Magnus will pay 240 gold coins to be divided among the heroes, if they rescue Sir Ragnar. No reward will be paid if Sir Ragnar is killed during the escape. The quest is exclusively laid out in the northeast and southwest quadrants. The southwest quadrant contains the prison for Sir Ragnar, which is accessed through the south corridor and comprises 4 rooms, including the 2 2x6 rooms, which must be accessed by a secret door and house both Ragnar himself and a Fimir, his most formidable guard. There is one way into and one way out of this prison. Also in this quadrant, but accessed from the central corridor that runs east-west, is a treasure room. The northeast quadrant contains 4 rooms that serve as orc living quarters. Their layout is largely irrelevant to the quest. This quest has long been one of my favorites because of the rich possibilities it provides for future creations. Later in the original quest, Ulag appears and, if defeated, Ulag's son will come for revenge. But American players never learned what became of Ragnar. There's a recently released fan-made quest pack following his exploits, and the forthcoming Rise of the Dread Moon promises an official follow-up on the probable traitor. In my most recent campaign, the rescue of Sir Ragnar was one of Zargon's most humiliating defeats. My hero player wanted to play the original quest as close to straight as I could stomach, and after 20 years, I was happy to oblige. Unfortunately, he was able to dredge up a map from the dark recesses of memory and make short work of the orcs and goblins. After clearing the den of monsters, the heroes released Ragnar and waltzed home. This experience highlights one of the main difficulties with this quest. It promises an experience that it does not consistently deliver. The quest suggests that the heroes will have to fight their way back to the staircase with Ragnar. The heroes can eliminate that threat, however. This is great in some ways, since good strategy should be rewarded, but it does take away from the excitement of the dungeon. I love the concept of this quest, and I think that it was my first time running it, because I've always Zargon for hero players who have played through the main quest line. My experience running it this time taught me why past players have always wanted to skip this quest. The quest has a second problem. Even for underprepared heroes, it is much too easy. I ran it a second time recently, this time for my 4-year-old son, my wife, and my mother, who brought a party comprised of the barbarian, the dwarf, and the elf. The heroes split up, with the dwarf opening the chest in the room accessed off the center hallway, while the barbarian charged headlong down the south hallway, and the elf, rolling poorly and moving indecisively, got caught in no man's land between. I added a secret door from the room with the chest into the room beneath Sir Ragnar's cell to help the party regroup. More on that secret door in a moment. The party kept opening doors and revealing new monsters. Finally, with the Fimir and an orc still on the board, they opened Sir Ragnar's cell, revealing all of the monsters in the orc lair portion of the quest. Despite the chaos, the heroes triumphed, and because of it, they had a great time doing so. They felt like they had accomplished something and narrowly escaped. As Zargon, that's how I like my heroes to leave the dungeon, feeling lucky to be alive and thinking seriously about retiring on their spoils so that they will stop foiling my plots. Even for new players, this dungeon delivers that experience unevenly, because the heroes could accidentally explore the upper right quadrant first, leaving them free to waltz home with Ragnar. Even when they trip the trap, heroes have limited options. There is only one path from Ragnar's cell back to the stairwell, so strategy is limited to moving the heroes ahead of Ragnar and trying not to become separated. 2 simple adjustments that increase the difficulty and deliver a more consistent and rewarding experience while still rewarding the heroes for being thorough are to first, add the secret door between the treasure room and the room containing the table in the southwest quadrant. This complicates the heroes' return to the steps by making them defend on 2 fronts at the same time, as it gives options for moving Ragnar towards the stairs. The second change is to add a spawn point for orcs and goblins in the northeast quadrant. A steady stream of orcs and goblins will help the heroes feel pressure as they try to rush Ragnar up the stairs. I would probably lean into the inherent campiness of HeroQuest and have the monsters jump out of a cupboard. But if your heroes would want a more realistic entry point, it would be easy enough to add a door that leads off the board, deeper into the orc lair on that quadrant. In fact, you could even make a connection between that and the next quest where the heroes track down Ulach. The door can remain locked when the heroes explore, and then it can be unlocked when the alarm sounds. The speed and quantity of orcs and goblins probably depends on your heroes, but I would probably alternate a fast, weak goblin and a strong, slower orc, having one come out each turn. That's all I've got for the rescue of Sir Ragnar. If you think my comments will help Zargon run more dangerous dungeons and finally overcome those pesky heroes, please do that YouTube thing and like and subscribe. Then, I'd love to hear how you manage tension in rescue-style quests. Let's plot together in the comments below.